I'm going to cover the game update, the official kits announcement, and also the leaked limited time login event. Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my Sims 4 news video. So I'm going to start with the kits announcement. I'm going to then go cover that limited time login event that was leaked, go over the game update, which also added an optional DirectX 11 for Windows players, a new executable file, which has some impacts for some, and also the impact on mods. So to start with, EA tweeted, or The Sims tweeted, and shared on various social media, bask in the sun with your new boo, surrounded by the mood-setting scenery, or bring your date to hang with your friends at your favorite bistro spot with the new Sims 4 Riviera Retreat Kit and the Sims 4 Cozy Bistro Kit, and it is out on May 30th, which was what had been leaked. So they then went on to say, spend your hot Sims summer lounging in a scenic, secluded pool with the Sims Riviera Retreat Kit. Create a tranquil oasis your sim and their new boo will never want to leave with stucco textures and water features that blend with the surrounding nature. And it links to the blog post. And then they go on and say, enjoy a cup of coffee or nectar at your new favorite hole-in-the-wall bistro with the Sims 4 Cozy Bistro Kit. Create the perfect spot for a first date, third date, or friend date with welcoming awnings, vintage furniture, and classic decor. And it also links to that same blog post, which you can see here. They have some more, essentially similar things that are being said. Another one with screenshots. And here, interestingly, there are going to be 2 builds on the gallery from the kits. So it's the Cozy Bistro and the Riviera Retreat Pool House builds will be on the gallery on May 30th, which is obviously when they're releasing, and you can see it's across all the various platforms. And if you want to know when that is going to be for you, well, when it's going to be, or expected to be, 10 a.m. Pacific, which for me is a 1 p.m. Eastern, but I will link down below so you can find out when that is in your own time zone. So on to that login rewards. So first started seeing various tweets from different simmers, including this one here, Rex Edogawa, and it said, seems like we're getting timed event in Sims 4 now. That was in the login files. I also saw an Italian version of it, but the Sims VIP actually has a link to the unlisted video from the Sims channel. So while it's not been announced and this is unlisted, this is from The Sims. So it's going to explain what the login events are, and they're limited time events that reward you for logging into the game. And then they go on about how they work. So each week you can unlock new rewards and you can claim them. And if there's more than one at a time, you can claim one, it'll claim them all. And to claim them all, it said that you have to log in 8 times over the 4-week period to get them all. And then to claim your reward, they have that little claim icon there or button, and you just select it, which is what they say, and then it'll show you what's coming later, and you can see sort of the things that are coming there. There's a dartboard, which essentially is a get-together thing, and there's a necklace, which looks like from Crystal Creations, but like recolors are not exactly the same ones. Fridge, nano trash can. Actually, the compact bar interests me because it's like one tile, which I quite like, but I don't like that they're limited time and that you have to go on to do this. Like, this is something that you expect from a mobile, free-to-play game. And Sims 4, much as the base game is free, all of the EPs and whatnot aren't. And of course, the base game wasn't free for a lot of people when they originally got the game, including me. But, that's whatever. And I can see this working with like the Project Renee, how they're doing, which of course is just what they've told us, where it's going to be on the computer and also in the mobile device. So like if you're out, you can log into your mobile device, but if you're not around during this time period, you're not going to be able to get these rewards. But interestingly, you can actually see them right now if you do that filter they were showing where you go in, it's in build mode and create a sim, and you filter with a color and the event rewards. You can currently see it if you've updated your game. I saw some of the items already when I did that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets patched out and that you will have had to have claimed them to be able to get them. But I really hope that in the long run, that similar to how the PJs were locked to if you were like an EA Play, I don't know what it was, but if you had a EA Play membership maybe on console, you could get it, and then they rolled it out to everybody later. I hope they do the same thing with that, but only time will tell. So just interestingly, one of the things is this new CAS trait, which is practice makes perfect. And there's like a description there that Sims learn skills faster, but they're slower at first. Then they sent a follow-up to say that it's not a reward trait. It's a CAS one, so it's a trait that you're going to pick and create a sim. And it does not reward your Sims. And in fact, it punishes them by making them learn all skills at a 50% speed. However, it works in a way that practicing skills in a category helps. So if you're practicing that skill, and so by default, your sim will learn skills at 50% speed. But if you practice it a single category, creative, social, physical, or mental continuously, then they can up that speed to 90%, 130%, 160%, and even a whopping 180%. But once you stop practicing, the buff starts to decay. And so you have to practice daily, I guess, in those categories. Otherwise, you'll lose that buff. But if you do keep practicing, then you can get that essentially permanently 180% skill boost per this, simmer and how they've described it. Again, that is one of those things that you can unlock. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the game update, or a lot about the game update. So the Sims Direct tweeted and shared also, on their Discord that the base game update was available across all platforms, and that it includes an increased number of bug fixes for the base game and a wide assortment of packs, as well as performance updates to The Sims 4. So then they went on to say, this update of increased fixes is our first release from our team investing in the core game experience, and that, they value our input. So please can you continue to report any issues you experience via EA or via AHQ, which is Answers Headquarters. That's what that stands for, as that remains their primary source on player experiences. So, and then it went into the patch notes, which essentially everything in the patch notes that were fixes were the same as what was on the laundry list that I covered previously. Sometimes when we have a really long laundry list, which this was, we sometimes get more. But in this case, we just got what was on it. So it just seems like they just showed more on the laundry list, which it was an extremely long laundry list. So from what I can see, all of the reports were closed that were here. One of the reports that was closed was that it's not important, but the skill list is arranged in alphabetical order. It doesn't stay that way. When you click on your sim, it's out of order, and then you can put it into order. And when I switched to another sim in the household, they weren't in alphabetical order, and I switched back to the first sim. It was still not, it was, back to being out of alphabetical order. But from what I heard is that if you switch it to alphabetical order and then you go to the other tabs of the same sim, it stays in alphabetical order. So it kind of partially is fixed, but not fully fixed. So I did another bug report for that. I had done the first one, but I haven't seen any other new bug reports. So if any of these things weren't actually fixed, no one's reported it. So hopefully they were fixed, and a lot of mod bug fixes were deemed as obsolete. So hopefully that's the case. So here were, the things that were essentially on the laundry list for console. The Cats and Dogs, City Living, which was about animals using the penthouses, though from what I could see, which we'll show later when we go over the mods, it is mostly fixed, but I think elder animals or elder cats still can't use the penthouses. I'm not sure. We'll get to that when we cover the mods, because Little Miss Sam had a mod that fixed it, and so she said hers is still, necessary if you meet those requirements. And you can see that. So for the performance, they made some optimizations to the game, so it uses less memory. So hopefully we experience fewer crashes, better frame rate, and or more responsive simulation. And the load process, so it should be happening faster. And from what I can gather, I'm not seeing any big issues like we did last time with the Pre-Crystal Creations game update Though, granted, I don't think that bug with the moodlets was really noticed until a little later. Like, not way later, but, like, not immediately. So hopefully this isn't going to be similar, and you know, that's not going to happen. You know, given what happened last time, hopefully they'd be looking out for things like that, and everything's fine. And in general, I'm going to talk about the mod impact later. A lot of mods seem to be okay, other than, you know, some were made obsolete because of the bug fixes. Now, the other thing that was new here, which wasn't on the laundry list, was that there is a DirectX 11 preview. So it is currently available for Windows players on an opt-in basis, and it will be rolled out fully in a later update for Simmers running Windows. So they go over how to add that if you want it, and it is available for EA App or Steam. And I think in the blog post about it, which I will cover briefly, Epic Games is also an option too. So you do need to make sure that your computer is DirectX 11 compatible, and most newer computers are actually DirectX 12, but currently the game is running under DirectX 9. So even if your game is 11, or your Windows is like DirectX 11 or DirectX 12, the game currently by default runs under DirectX 9. And so this is essentially bringing it so that it's going to run with more modern and hardware and hopefully run better. But they do comment here that you may experience visual issues with mods, so that they recommend disabling all mods while using this command line argument. So if you're trying it, it could be mods are causing issues. I did see somewhere on a loose post where she said that that's probably more of an issue for CC versus gameplay mods. But again, if you're having problems, but I'll cover all of this a little later in a little bit more detail. But that was in the patch notes, which is why I'm mentioning it now. So then we have these issues from Eco Lifestyle, For Rent, Gallery Server, Get to Work, and Growing Together, or I should say these bug fixes, though the Gallery Server bug fixes actually happened last Thursday and caused problems with the gallery filter. You know, it was fixed, and I don't know if they've been fixed yet. I haven't noticed, but there was an issue with more there was an issue that more people were having problems uploading sims and houses to the gallery because they were like saying, oh, you've got a disallowed word, especially if you were using she, her, or they, them pronouns. But it was happening. I saw reports for more than that, but hopefully they've actually fixed that. Comment below if you're still having those problems. I would love to know. And then here are the final of the updates for high school years, Horse Ranch, Island Living, and Seasons, which you can see them there on the screen. And like I said, they were all on the laundry list. So everything on the laundry list did make it onto the bug fix list. Now, for the DirectX, there is a post over on EA Answer Headquarters, which was linked in the patch notes by EA Cade. And it's a guide which, one, shows you how to look to see if your computer supports DX11. And it has all the details, so I would suggest go take a look at that. And then also how to enable it, which this particular part is for EA App and Epic Game Store and Game Pass for PC. So essentially you're going into your EA App and you find The Sims 4 and you go into the Game Advanced Settings, View Properties, and you type that -DX11, save and apply the changes, and that should get it to work. And then similarly, there's, you know, where it is in Steam showing there if you want to try it for Steam. And if you want to use your desktop shortcut for Sims 4, this is how you would edit it for that. Because if you use your desktop shortcut for Sims 4 and bypass like going into the EA app to open your game, it won't actually run the DirectX 11. So you would need to do it here. The same is true, I believe, if you like disable packs, you have to actually go into the EA app to open your game. Well, I did see someone say that they had an issue with disabling packs and using this, but it is still, you know, just being tested right now. It's not fully fleshed out, and it's just an opt-in thing, so it's definitely not, you know, there for everybody. And then also to disable DX11, you essentially are going to get rid of those command lines you put in there. There is a feedback thread over on EA Answer Headquarters that you can share your feedback if you decide to test the DX11. And again, it is just a testing thing. And Krinric actually has a blog on it, The Sims 4 and the DirectX. And it has a lot of details, which I'm not going to go over. I will be linking to all of this down below, so you can go take a look at it yourself. One thing I wanted to highlight here was if you can't get the game to run with DirectX 11, here are some things that you can try to do. First off, you got to make sure your graphic card supports DX11, which was one of the first things that they did suggest in EA Kate's post and showed how to test for it. Make sure your graphics drivers are up to date. So this one I saw mentioned a few times. Turn off edge smoothing in the game. So to do this, start the game with DX9 and turn off, change the line edge smoothing to 0 if you're going to do it in the files, the options in e-file versus doing it in the game. And then once you get into the game with DX11, you can turn it back on. And for some people, it seemed like once you got it working, it was fine, but other people had to kind of do it every time. And if you have files in the folder Documents Electronic Arts of Sims 4/config override, remove them and redo the changes on the current game file. So if you're using like graphics rules or various things to change your graphics, that can have an impact. Make sure you remove all your mods in CC, reset the game to factory settings without reinstalling, which essentially is take your Sims 4 folder and rename it Sims 4 Backup and let it generate a new set. But Krinric has a full guide with more details that's linked here. I won't link to the guide, but it'll be linked from this, so you can go to it from there. And if the game starts with DX9, despite the option, make sure you've added it to the correct place per those, descriptions. And if you still can't get it to work, then provide the feedback there, which I will be linking to that down below. And this is how you can tell on the main menu what version of DirectX that you're working. You can see where it's circled in red. So if you want more details, I highly recommend going and checking out Krinric's blog post on it. So another thing that I saw from Krinric is if you're getting an initialization error after this patch, make sure to check your Windows Defender ransomware protection and add Sims to it. She then went on to say that it looks like there's a new exe file in town. ts4_dx9_64.exe is what you need to add to your ransomware protection now. Also, this could apply for other antivirus, and this can also have an impact if you're opening your game and you've enabled your mods, but they're not staying enabled. That can also be an issue that you need to add that file to any antivirus that you use as being, trusted or approved to be able to open so that you can, get into your game and see your mods if you're having that problem. If you're not having that problem, obviously it's not an issue. And this is not something new. It's just obviously maybe coming about right now because of the change in this executable file. So Krinric has a whole blog on how to add exceptions to antivirus programs, and I will load to that below so you can see how to do that. And she has it for Windows Defender and then a couple of other ones, but it would be similar with whatever antivirus that you're using. So now the mod impact. So Luth has an overview here at the beginning, which I'm not going to go over in detail, but essentially it has an index which links to what is covered with the blog post, and also the fact that if you're a mod user, you are really responsible for your own mods and making sure that they are current, or if they've been updated, make sure you get the most recent version. So moving on to the mod impact. So this post is from Luth, and it does get updated as she knows more information about the mods. I thought that mods might break or a lot of mods might break because of the update, since they talked about the, optimizing the game, but it looks like there wasn't a huge mod impact. Some mods did break and did need to be updated. Some of them were like minor breaks, but still it's best to get the updated version. So here is Luth's intro that she has with every mod update, and essentially, says what's not covered there, and there's an index of what is covered, and the index essentially leads to the various new information which she updates as she gets it. So it's like a list, a summary list, and then there's extra parts where she shows the changes that are essentially going to be added to the summary list. So she has this part, which is the newly broken and obsolete game mods. So at the time that I'm recording this, you can see what was broken or obsolete. The obsolete, a lot of those were mod fixes, but it does say there that not obsolete is Little Miss Sam elevator for fix for toddlers and pets still needed for your, it is elder cats. I couldn't remember if it was elder pets or cats, but it's cats specifically. So yes, if you have elder cats, you still need her fix for that. And then here's some updated game mods, and it, you know, some from Little Miss Sam, Kiara Sims, there was one there, Lunar Brittany, Nikki Clem, Thematically, and Simmy Time. And I also saw after, that's not on here at the time that I got this screenshot, that UI Cheats was updated. And then the newly broken obsolete CC build by game mods, there's nothing on there for this one. Though if you look at her post, she's got a long list from previous, that was a lot of stuff that was broken, which I'm not going to cover because it's not new. But I would suggest going and heading over to her post to look at it. It's probably better if you know what you use so you can go through it, because it is alphabetical. So the next part is about core and injector mods, the current version, so you can see if you use any of those, what the most recent version is, so you can make sure you have those in your game. And the most commonly required mods are emphasized, i.e. in bold, so you can see that's Deaderpool MC Command Center, Lot 51 Core Libraries, Kambabo XML Injector, and then by Twisted Mexi Better Exceptions, and ModGuard Mod Malware Protection. So she then goes on to have cleared by the creator for the patch, so the list is selective, and you can see what's on here, and one of the ones that is on here is MC Command Center, which is still bolded, though earlier on in a report it said that the auto free build option blocks household inventory, so essentially you should turn that off and just use the manual cheat at this point in time, since I'm guessing that's just since the update. I don't use that myself. And you can see that, and again, go check out her list for more details and for the more current version, because it will be updated beyond what it is at the time that I'm recording. Also, not on there because it was after UI Cheats has been updated, and it says it includes a fix for skills being out of order in the skill panel, and this mod was blocking the fix from being applied. So there was a fix to it. It just wasn't fully fixed. As it goes on to say, doesn't fully fix this issue. So he's included an additional fix for it. So it added a new cheat for removing workplace rivals and fixed the skill panel. Would take a long time to update when cheating a skill to level 1. So that's been updated. If you use that, I recommend you go get the new version. So let me know what you think about the update, what you think about the announcement of the kits, and really, what do you think about this Happy at Home login event? Is it something you like or something you wish they wouldn't do? I'm not a big fan because I don't like things that are limited in time, because I prefer it when, if they're going to give something for free, that they just give it to everybody. I don't like this type of thing because honestly, even though I'm sure I'll be logging in and getting these things, I prefer everybody to get the things and not just those who happen to be available to log into the game. Anyways, I'd love to know your thoughts in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!